Scott. Scott's agreed to give us a testimonial about his experience here at our clinic. How were you referred to us, Scott?
I actually started doing some research online and obviously suffering from some of the symptoms. I had not gotten relief from medical doctors, so I kind of went on my own, started doing some research, and came up with upper cervical. And one of them, I think, was the Blair method or whatever, and that led me further into upper cervical to you.
Okay. And so what type of condition were you suffering from, or why did you consult our office?
Yeah, finally figured out that it was actually Meniere's disease that I was diagnosed with through a long, treacherous road of medical doctor, referred to a neurologist who went through a battery of MRIs and dye tests and different things, and then handed over to an ENT specialist and went through a whole series again of tests and everything. And the ENT is the one who actually diagnosed me with Meniere's disease. And some of the treatments that they were talking about didn't really sit well with me as far as putting like a shunt in your eardrum. I'm not like possible hearing loss, but like a guaranteed hearing loss situation with somewhere south of 50% success rate. It just wasn't an answer. So that pushed me to look for other things. So that's how I found you.
So what symptoms were you having? I mean, what was life like before you found us?
So the symptoms with the Meniere's, through this whole process, I would walk around daily with vertigo so bad that you didn't know really kind of where the floor was. The room's kind of spinning, the walls are slanted, and you're always wanting to hold on to something. That would be the mild side of it. The severe side of it would be where the room's spinning and tumbling like you're literally in a tumble dryer or some kind of wicked roller coaster ride that won't stop. And it caused severe nausea and, it's just no way to live. That was usually followed by, severe migraine headache, cluster migraine headaches and different things like that. So it got to the point to where I was worried about, my job. I was worried about ever being able to drive again. I was worried about a lot of things. So this is, for me, it was a pretty, kind of a gotcha moment for me where I was scared.
So it was definitely affecting your life, your work,
no doubt about it.
activities of daily living, everything.
All the way to my mood, my depression. I mean, there's some wicked things that start happening when you think you're going to be living with this for the rest of your life. And they're real. And I went through all those things.
So we brought you in, we did some imaging on your neck, and we showed you what we found. How would you describe what we did? How was the correction like?
And this isn't a knock on you, obviously, because we've come through the full circle of the treatment, but honestly, the first 2 weeks, I didn't know if I was on the right track or not. I didn't know if I was at the right place. I wasn't experiencing really any instant relief at all. And so, with encouragement from my wife and everything else, stay the course, just stay the course, stay the course. And of course you as well, saying this isn't a light switch we can turn. This is a process. So, just having to stay that course was the hardest part. The first 2, maybe 3 weeks, it seems like about that third week, we were doing some pretty heavy treatments here. I think you were hitting me like every other day or something like that. But about that third week, 2.5 week mark, it seemed like I was still feeling symptoms and I was still feeling not so hot, but it was different. And that's all I can describe it as, is different. Seemed like I noticed a change at that point. And then obviously through the continued treatment, it just seemed to get better and better.
So how would you describe what we did, the actual adjustment, if you had to describe it to someone?
Honestly, and that may have been part of it, mentally you think you're going to go through this major adjustment, major change, but it was kind of laughable, honestly, because the first time you adjusted me, I thought to myself, well, that didn't do a damn thing. I mean, there's no way that did anything. So I'm going to go along with it. And the second time, literally like a little baby tap, I'm thinking, I'm a big guy. There's no way he moved anything in my neck. And then the next day, I'd feel, just like you said, a little soreness in my neck. And I'm like, how's my neck sore from that tap? And that's what it was. Those adjustments taking effect, those muscles tensing up because of the change, like you said. And, you know, that was it for me. I was like, you know, this isn't really an adjustment. This is more like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very, very minimal.
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming, and to the point to where you're like, there's no way this is doing anything. But
Right.
obviously, you know, through the whole cycle of things, we were able to make that adjustment. But,
So how is life now after you've gone through this?
well, I dare to say that I'm cured 100%, because that wouldn't be accurate. But as severe as I was before, compared to what I have now, I don't know what else to say other than, I mean, before went from not being able to get out of bed and not being able to tell where the floor and the ceiling was and having to hold on to stuff, to where I don't experience vertigo anymore. I wake up, I get out of bed, and I do my normal routine. I'm able to go back to the gym. I'm able to work full day. I'm able to drive. I'm able to do everything as if before I was diagnosed with Meniere's. The only thing, like I said, I have to do, there's a combination of things. Obviously, I've removed the salt from my diet. I've removed, you know, I've done a lot of different things, some supplements and other things. But through this combination of things, I'm able to manage the Meniere's to the point to where, yeah, I'll still get some vertigo. Usually it's diet-induced. Eat at a restaurant, eat some vegetables that have too much salt on it or something. And I'll go through a brief moment of dizziness, okay, where it's just kind of uneasy feeling, where you kind of feel a little woozy. But nothing like I had before, and not near as long. I mean, we're talking an episode now from diet or something that comes on the last 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20, you know, and lay down, sit down, relax for a little bit, and it goes away. So I think since we've had I've been seeing you for like 6 months now, maybe less, I don't remember. In that time, I've had one drop attack, which, you know, you can't, those are part of the disease, they're going to happen. But also, I used to get drop attacks when I get sick. I got stomach flu a month ago, and I didn't have a drop attack. I just knew I was going to have a drop attack. It's one of those anxiety things, you know it's going to happen.
Sure.
And it never did. So to me, that's a big change.
So if you had to put a percentage of improvement, what would you say the percentage of improvement was from before you were ever adjusted to today?
To today, I mean, I would have to put it in the mid to upper 90s.
Awesome.
I mean, even if I'm being optimistic, I would say, I mean, conservative, I'd say 90.
All right.
But personally, I think I'm 95 to 98%. I mean, there's still that 1 or 2% that I have to manage through diet and through, some of it's never going to go away. I mean, let's just face it, that's just Meniere's. So,
Could be, right.
but the difference for me is I'm carrying on a normal life with a few adjustments, like it wasn't even there.
Perfect. So what would you tell somebody who's never been in our office? What would you say to that person that's watching this video?
You know, I would encourage them to try, because honestly, originally when I started with you, I went through that cycle like, look, this is just another deal that's not going to work. This is, you know, costs money. We don't have the money. You know, you go through this whole thing, but looking back on it, it's the best thing I ever did. And I would tell you, just stay the course, stay the course, stay the course, because you're going to be 3 weeks into it thinking this isn't doing anything for you. And then after a couple of months, you're going to be wanting to come in. So just don't give up on the treatment would be the biggest thing I would say, because, you know, I've even heard on the group on line, they say, oh, I tried it, it didn't work. And I'm sometimes curious, how long did you try it? Oh, I went 5 times over 2 weeks. It's like, well, you didn't really, I don't think you got close to the finish line.
Right.
And I think, and I know why, because in that 2.5 week mark, I was thinking, this is a big waste of money, I'm out. And I could see where most people would throw their hands up.
Sure.
But stay the course, stay the course. And again, I think encouragement from you too, telling me, Scott, hey, you're gonna go backwards. This is gonna happen. I mean, you forecasted that.
That's right. There is no process that does not require time.
Correct.
Very
So
good.
it's, you know, encouragement from you, encouragement from others around, but that's the biggest thing. Don't hesitate to do it, and when you do it, stay the course. that's the best advice I can get, and it changed my life. I mean, and hopefully you'll be able to help others, and that's why I wanted to do this video.
Well, that's,
Because if you can help someone like me, I think you can help anybody. Honestly,
Beautiful.
I really do.
well, brother, thanks for giving your testimony.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll help someone that's
I as well.
suffering, and we can help them.
You bet.